Hello and welcome to Easier and More Effective Planning with User-Controlled Scheduling for Microsoft Project 2010. My name is Robert Happy and I work with an organization called the Project Management Practice Inc. and we specialize in custom project management solutions. And in this tip we are going to review user-controlled scheduling to plan your project quicker and easier, as UCS puts you in control of the schedule with greater flexibility to create either simple or complex project plans, and also freeing you to enter in project information in the way that you want. We'll also look at the inactivate function to temporarily turn off a task without deleting it, so you can see the impact it has on your plan, for example, as it has on your duration, your start date, and your finish date, even your work and your cost without that task, and then you can determine whether or not you want to add it back in or leave it out. Let's go have a look at project, and you can see in this example that I've got a very high level general development plan with some key stages mapped out for requirements, design, build, test, and implement. And you can see that I have a series of tasks and milestones underneath each particular stage. Let's look at gather requirements, and you'll see that under the task mode column that the task mode has been set to manually scheduled task, which is the default in Project 2010 for new tasks. I can change that default by going down to the status bar and clicking on new tasks or manually scheduled, and I can change the default for new tasks to auto scheduled from here if I'd like, so that as I add new tasks it defaults to auto scheduled. I can also change this on a task by task setting by clicking on the task mode cell, or by going to the task tab under the task group, and you can see that I can switch from a manually scheduled task to an auto scheduled task. You'll also find the default for the entire project plan under the file tab by going to options and clicking under schedule. You will see that new tasks created can be switched to auto scheduled from manually scheduled tasks. So if you don't want to use manually scheduled tasks, which is putting the schedule in a user controlled scheduled approach, just simply switch the default to auto scheduled. One of the nice things about a UCS approach or a manually scheduled approach is that I have blank cells under the values for duration, start, and finish dates, and I can freely enter in information in the way that I want. So for example, for gather requirements, I can put approximately 1 week, and project will gladly accept that information in the way that I enter it. I can also add in, say I want to finish this mid-June freely, and I don't have to put in any specific date format. However, you're free to enter in 5 days and project will take that. I can say that I want to start my document requirements and just simply choose a date, for example on June 9th. I can even go to requirements complete, make this 0 days to make it a milestone, and say I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I know I want this done by end of June. And maybe that's all you know, so you can keep some cells blank, you can type in words, or you can type in formatted data if you like. The other nice thing about user-controlled scheduling is that you can do high-level estimates at the phase or the stage level or the summary task level, if you will. So for example, say design, I want that to be 2 weeks. I can enter in 2 weeks, and maybe I want this to begin at the beginning of July, and project will say, okay, well that means it should be done by mid-July. And then I can come in and start entering in my details and compare the details to the summary task without losing my summary task information. So for example, if I put in 5 days for develop design specifications, and I want that to start, say, after requirements complete, there's nothing to stop me from setting a dependency from requirements completed to develop design specifications by using my control key and clicking on both those tasks, then going up to the task tab in the schedule group and clicking on link, and I've now linked those tasks, and I can click on respect the links if I want project to respect the links of when that task ends. In fact, if this actually ended at the end of June, for example, maybe that's 30th of June, project will take that, and then if I want to respect that link, you'll see that because it's set to manually scheduled over here in the bar area, that link is not being respected yet, but I can simply click on respect the links and project will recalculate that. So one of the nice things about using UCS is that you can choose to respect the links or the impact of a link or not as you look at your project plan. I can actually go through and finish scheduling this. Maybe the design review and feedback loop takes 3 days, and I want to give 5 days for this task. And if I set the links between these particular tasks by using the link command, project will actually calculate this. And I'm going to make this design completed a milestone by typing in 0 days. And you'll see that project is calculating this out to 720, which is a little different than your summary estimate of 714. And in fact, if I go to the View tab, there's a nice little option here called View or Zoom Entire Project, so I can see it all in one place here. You'll notice that up here I have my summary bar, which is represented by the black bar, and then I've got the roll-up of my details extending past that, indicating that there is a problem. And that's why that red squiggly line or the red wavy line pops up. And if I right-click on that, I can choose to fix this in the Task Inspector. I can choose to switch the summary to auto schedule, or I can just ignore the problem for this task, which is what I'm going to choose right now, and worry about it later. You can also see that I haven't respected the links here, so I can click on the task, click on Respect the Links, or simply right-click on the problem here and click on Respect the Links from here as well. And you can see that project is scheduling this out to 720, which is different than 714. So you can use the roll-up of the details and compare that to the summary, and then decide what you're going to do about it. So right now, for example, I might decide that I really like what I did with my details, and I can highlight these tasks and have projects switch them all to auto scheduling. And you can see that now I've turned these tasks to auto scheduling, and in fact, if I start making changes to duration, for example, project will automatically recalculate that milestone for me. So I can quickly go from a user controlled scheduling setting to an auto controlled scheduling setting and take advantage of the scheduling efficiency that project brings to the table. The other thing you can do is that you can take advantage of the inactivate command, which is here under the schedule group. Maybe you want to crash your schedule a bit and see what happens when you take this task out of the picture. If I make this task inactive and I make this develop design specification a link to final design approval by using my control key to select both and then using the link tool, you can see the impact that it has on my schedule from a start and finish date and from a duration standpoint by not having that task in the mix. And if I want to, I can simply turn it back on or inactivate it to see what happens when you turn it on or off from a duration standpoint. And of course, if I had my work column and my cost column up and running, you can see the impact it would have on work and costs. So all that being said, we have some great tools that we can take advantage of in terms of the UCS, which provides more control over project information without being constrained by the complication of dealing with pre-formatted values or calculation settings. And you have the freedom to enter in project information in the way that you want, and it really better supports planning to capture important project information early on in the planning stage when details may still be a little unclear or fuzzy. You can also use the inactive task feature to plan and track more effectively and manage more what-if scenarios if you take a task out or if you take a task in. So that takes us to the end of this tip. Hope you'll enjoy the next tip.